Well, good morning, everybody. Oh, I know y'all can do better than that. I'm standing here with these lights glaring in my face, and I'm all happy and cheerful. Good morning, everybody. Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. I'm Jerlena Griffin-Desta. I'm the Deputy to the VP for Student Affairs at the UC Office of the President, University of California. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. You had choices about where you would be this morning, and you are here, and we are happy for that. So as our conference theme says, Stronger Together, California colleges and universities united for student mental health, which is sponsored by UC and Cal Mesa, a mental health services agency out of Sacramento, through our Prop 63 funding. So as taxpayers, we're all paying into this wonderful effort. And this marks the culmination of our three-year grant. And the counseling directors on each of our campuses helped put in the deliverables for the grant. And one of the big pieces of that was, at the very end of the grant, we need to come together and share best practices, work with our partners, whether they're private or public sector partners, and envision this whole thing. And of course, I'm the lucky one that helps to get to implement it. Right now, we're hosting 48 California campuses here today, along with a number of county health organizations, which is a testament, I think, to the spirit of collaboration, which has been a hallmark of this particular effort. And it is at the heart of what we're trying to do in student mental health. And because our success over these 2 days depends on our level of collective engagement, I would like for each campus to sound out. So not each campus, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do expedited version. Where are our community college colleagues? Just to give a shout out. Woohoo, wow. You guys are really in the house. And what about our Cal State University colleagues? Where are you? Over here, over here. And I know we have some private sector colleagues in the room as well. Raise your hands. That's right. Thank you for being here. And who am I missing? Oh, I see. Our UC colleagues, where are you? Okay, UC colleagues, you are the official hosts, so make sure we extend the red carpet to our colleagues in the room. If you've already started flipping through your program booklet here, isn't this a wonderful booklet? It's really nice. If you started to flip through it, you will see how jam-packed our conference is. Ending a little bit later today and starting early tomorrow, you will see that you might not be able to attend every session, but you will never want for engaging content. I thought the planning committee did an excellent job of choosing and promoting, actually, and choosing the programs you see that's been designed for you. And because this is a conference on wellness, where are my yoga attendees this morning? Jean, where are you? I know I saw you. Who else was in the yoga with me this morning? Girl, I'm calling you out because we got up early to go to yoga, right? This was fabulous. There was a couple of others as well from Cal State. Where are you? Is she in the room? She was with us, and there was another young man. And it was wonderful because one of the things that Taisha and I talked about was who takes care of the caretakers. And you'll see elements of this throughout the conference. You'll see opportunities for massage. You'll see opportunities for to engage in healthy conversation. And hopefully you will, on your own, take care of your bodies and your minds and yourselves while you're here as well. Taisha will say more about this later, but you also have a passport wellness book. Make sure you complete that for some wonderful health-related exercises as well. So now, the next portion of our opening session, I'd like to present UC Student Affairs Vice President Judy Sakaki, who has been immensely supportive of and very engaged with enhancing our student wellness programs. It is Vice President Sakaki who charged my office to ensure that support for campus mental health remains a high priority within my portfolio. It is Vice President Sakaki who has asked that we partner with the campuses to prioritize funding for additional sources of funding for student mental health. And as a scholar of psychology, she is well aware of the criticality of creating safe and healthy environments so that our students can thrive. So please join me in welcoming Vice President Sakaki, who wants to bring you greetings. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of President Janet Napolitano, I bring greetings. I welcome you to this Stronger Together conference. It's so wonderful. The team has worked incredibly hard to pull this together in a relatively short period of time, and I'm so pleased that you are all here. One of the reasons I'm really excited about this conference and our event and our being together is the participation across segments, privates. I met some folks from different foundations and all, and it's really good for us to come together to share ideas, best practices, and also think about what we might do stronger ahead as we move forward together. As you know, for us, student wellness, on some of the campuses is really seen as tangential, but I do want to say it really is under our new president, and I've worked under 3 UC presidents right now since I've arrived at the office of the president, and President Napolitano really cares about students. It's been really exciting. She's just coming on her 1st anniversary, and she has wanted to meet with students, to listen to them. She's been very engaged with the issue of student mental health. We've had briefings with her. She's asked that we really support the campuses and move forward with this work. And in fact, tomorrow morning I'll be returning to the campus and doing a briefing and sharing information of what's going on here at the conference. So I appreciate all that's going on. And we care about what's going on both in the classroom but also outside of the classroom in terms of the total student development, and that's something that's so important. Some of you may be familiar with Gar Reynolds, who is the creator of this notion called Presentation Zen. And as I've spoken to different groups, I've often resonated with the notion of bamboo. And I'd like to share some ideas as we open this morning for us to think about being like bamboo. He cites 10 lessons from bamboo that I think can be applied to our work over the next couple days and our work in the future that we do. So think about the characteristics of bamboo in terms of that what might appear weak is really strong. Bamboo is incredibly resilient. If you think about bamboo in a garden, you'll see it moving in the wind, but you will also see that when it moves, it can also come back to center. So that we can bend with situations, but we don't break, right? We come back to center. It's amazingly flexible. It's important for us to be deeply rooted in the work that we do, and yet with this flexibility. So think about what each of us brings to our work in terms of our culture, in terms of our upbringing, in terms of our background, and that rootedness all helps us as we sit at the table and help our campuses to be better at what we do. A 4th item that he talks about in terms of not only being deeply rooted but flexible is to slow down our busy mind. And when we need to slow down so that we can be open to all that's out there and around us, so that we can really listen to each other. To be always ready and to find wisdom in emptiness. And this is a sense, what he speaks about in terms of being empty so that you can be open, so that there's always space in your mind and in your being to allow for new things to come in. And then we want to commit ourselves to growth and renewal and express things through simplicity. And lastly, to unleash the power to spring back. So this is that notion, again, of flexibility, but to spring back and come back to center. And last but not least, to smile, to laugh, and to play, which oftentimes we get so busy helping others, thinking whether it's developing policy that will support our students or whether it's actually being a practitioner and delivering and helping our campuses through incredible crises, which unfortunately we have faced in this last year. So we have much to learn and much to offer each other as we continue to move forward on this path to greater wellness. And one individual who is a great reservoir of wisdom for us and a great support on our Council of Vice Chancellors for Student Affairs, is UC Irvine Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Thomas Parham. Dr. Parham is the current chair of the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee and was instrumental in the process that led to our current mental health programming. But I'll let him talk a little bit more about the Oversight Committee and all of that. So please join me at this time in a warm welcome for Dr. Vice Chancellor Thomas Parham.
Judy's trying to make me vice president. I'm like, no, you can, I'm thankful for what you do with the vice president's office. So let me, first of all, say good morning. Let me try that again. Good morning. Let me first add my voice to the chorus of those that say, welcome to this conference entitled Stronger Together, California Colleges and Universities United for Student Mental Health. What a blessing it is to have this intersegmental cooperation and collaboration in ways in which we don't do this enough, yes? So how glad are we that we are here, and we thank Vice President Sakaki for her vision and leadership in bringing this off. In welcoming you, I want to thank the conference organizers who have labored long and hard to help us arrive at this particular place and space and time. And let me invite the conference organizers, if you would, just to stand for a moment as I ask each of you in the audience to join me in really thanking them. It's hard to put on a conference like this. And I know lots of us will be into, something didn't go wrong, something didn't go wherever. But all the conference organizers, please stand up. Give it up for them, please. They've worked hard on this. We thank them for their commitment to and execution of this endeavor. I also bring you greetings this morning from my colleagues who serve on the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee, and know that our committee will continue to do the important work of listening to your voices and the voices of the students we serve. We'll continue understanding the issues. We'll continue trying to frame the narrative and the discourse, and of course advocating for a broader base of institutional support for student mental health. Now, in reaffirming our commitment and in transitioning into this new role as chair of the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee for the University of California, I want to acknowledge the tremendous work of a particular individual who is my colleague, my friend, the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at the University of California, Santa Barbara, Dr. Michael Young. Now, let me invite you to remember what it is that you are applauding for, because he has led this committee since its inception. We started out as a student mental health committee. And when I was an assistant vice chancellor back then with Vice Chancellor Yanita Montero and Vice Chancellor Young, we are now an oversight committee, so it gives you a sense of how long we have served in this role. But he's led the committee really since its inception with a level of professionalism and integrity. He's been uncompromising in his clarity. He's been vocal in his advocacy. He has literally roared like a lion to make people stand up and take notice and to think about what are these issues that an entire system needs to be paying attention to. He's been very vocal in his advocacy for resources to better support the counseling centers and helping our students. His personal dedication has been instrumental in keeping all of us who do this important work on track, and he remains, I think you will agree with me, an inspiration to all of us who care so deeply about the work we do. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleague, to bring you greetings and his remarks, Dr. Michael Young.
I almost feel like I shouldn't say anything after that introduction. I should just thank you, Thomas, for the kind words, and thank you all for being here this morning. I have to say that it's heartening looking out over the room and seeing you all out there. I don't know most of you, in the audience. I know many, but I don't know most of you in the audience. But I know about your work, and I know about the character and quality of the efforts that you're engaged in to try to support our young people. Now, I have the honor this morning to briefly represent both the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee and the University of California, Santa Barbara, and my colleagues that are here with me today. And we've certainly experienced in our time some extremely challenging events that in many ways put a marker on this issue of student mental health. And I was asked to say just a little bit about our history. So I've been Vice Chancellor for almost 25 years, and I've worked with many students and parents and faculty members over those years, working through some very difficult situations. And it was that involvement and my whining and complaining about the kinds of issues we were seeing at my campus and around the system that I think qualified me to become the co-chair, certainly not my training, but qualified me to become co-chair of the Student Mental Health Committee back in 2005. And really we began our work late 2005 and into 2006, reviewing student mental health programming, reviewing the nature of the issues and concerns that we were experiencing in the University of California and around and across the nation, and doing so within the framework of the very restricted funding that we were experiencing. So what we found hasn't changed much. We learned much about what was going on in our world, that there is increasing numbers and severity of students in distress, and we were trying to respond to all of that with reduced and restricted funding. And unfortunately, in many ways, much is still the same. At least from my perspective, if anything, the numbers of young people in distress and severity of those cases certainly hasn't abated, and some might argue it has increased. But back then, and through this moment, when we reported to the regents, we recommended a three-tier approach. First, critical response with critical mental health services. Second, targeted interventions for vulnerable groups. And third, creating a healthier learning environment, really building a foundation. And it was a tiered system, three-tiered system, with creating a healthier learning environment at the base. And it was on that foundation that the Student Mental Health Initiative was built. Again, short-term focus, being responsive to critical needs and access, and a longer-term focus on enhancing wellness to our campuses and to the community. And I'm a firm believer in that we were right. We were right. I think that approach works, and I think your work is demonstrating that that works. So for the work that's been done over the past 8 years, I am extraordinarily proud. We truly have come a long way, and I think just this crowd and the character and nature of the work that you do is demonstrative of that. The collaborations are much stronger, and the programs that have been developed are innovative and effective. However, funding, certainly in the University of California, still remains a particular problem, remains a challenge. And while we've managed to convince some people of the need to enhance student mental health on our campuses, the struggle to help people understand the importance and the nature of this work and the requirements of the resources to allow us to be successful still remains maybe our toughest challenge. But in ending, I would just say that I'm very proud of the work that's being done and the way in which the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee has contributed to that success, but most importantly, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you and the work you do every day. As I mentioned to the steering group last night at dinner, it's really you that makes us successful. I'm one of those that believes, in fact, that it's because of your work that there are young people who are alive today who would not be alive if it were not for your work. And there are young people who are in less pain, and maybe hopefully some in no pain because of the nature of your work. All that happens because of you. So I'm extraordinarily proud to pass the baton for the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee to my good friend, Dr. Thomas Parham. He actually has training, and I think he is absolutely the most important person to take this work into the future. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I wish you all the best, and I hope you enjoy our conference. So thank you very much.
Before you go too far, let me invite Vice Chancellor Young back up to the podium. Somewhere I read that the measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Those prophetic words by Dr. King speak volumes about my friend and colleague here. And in recognition of all you have done in support of student mental health, the University of California presents to Vice Chancellor Michael D. Young, on behalf of the Student Mental Health Oversight Committee, this certificate. It is a new award that is called the Vanguard Award. You're a champion, you gotta be a vanguard. It says, with gratitude for your individual and collective contributions toward the advancement of student mental health across your career, we affectionately bestow the title Vanguard to capture the essence of your leadership as you have relentlessly pioneered new pathways, paving the way for sustainable change and healthier future for our students. There is no greater blessing in life, ladies and gentlemen, next to being a parent, than being able to contribute to the personal and intellectual growth and development of young people. And the way that this individual has really championed trying to create a better mental health future for our students is just remarkable. And we present you this award. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vanguard Award to Dr. Michael Young. And before you have a chance to sit down, so this, I want you to just stay on your feet for me for a minute, because we had a chance to think about what would, be a fitting tribute to him. And Michael is one of the more engaging people with students, with faculty, with staff. And this one says, Michael D. Young, PhD, UCI Student Mental Health Vanguard Award 2014. And it is a collage and collection of lots of ways in which you have influenced the lives of other people. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Young. In taking over these elements for student mental health, my challenge is also to try to create a small vision for the committee that I'll have an opportunity to manage. Vice Chancellor Young casts a big shadow, and these will be big feet, right? And shoes that we have to fill, big feet. But the four things I think we want to try to get done. First, and I'm going to need everybody's help, not only within UC, but really intersegmental cooperation to help us do this. First, we want to reinforce the reciprocal nature of mental health in academic enterprise, reminding people that success in one domain facilitates success in the other. You cannot have academic success in the midst of institutional pressures and university environments without the support of prominent mental health resources. We will be trying to make, that very, very plain again. We will continue to advocate for resources that our mental health centers and professionals need to engage the important work they do. All institutions have aspirations. Our job on this committee will be trying to close that gap between what we aspire to be and how that aspiration is actualized and operationalized within the context of our mental health work. I also want to lead a charge to deprivatize and publicize the issues that our clients bring to our individual and group sessions. Client concerns are not simply intrapsychic disturbances. Often their concerns they bring into therapy and treatment are evidence of structural defects that exist in the fabric of society and our institutions broadly. We cannot simply have our clients adjust to the social pathology that exists in the world that instigates their entry into mental health treatment in the first place. Rather, we must also become advocates for systemic change and supportive of academic spaces where academic dreams and career aspirations can be realized. And finally, what I hope to do in my tenure in leading this committee is I want to help all of us to become aware of the best practice strategies that can be most beneficial in the service to our clients and the broader student community. If I can get all that done and follow in Vice Chancellor Young's footsteps, we'll be okay. Y'all with me on that? Yes. All right. Now, as I prepare to take my seat, I want to just provide us with a small charge for the conference. And I'm so glad, as Jerlena said, to see you all here today. Because our charge over the next 2 days is to learn, to listen, to understand the issues that frame mental health service delivery within our respective institutions, throughout our systems, throughout our learning and service delivery environments, and really across this entire state of California. Our charge is also to remember the prophetic words of Dr. King, who reminded us in one of his famous orations that we are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. Indeed, we are stronger together. His words highlight for us the mandate to collaborate across institutional boundaries in the delivery of mental health services. So spend these 2 days getting to know the colleagues within and between institutional boundaries and initiate those connections that can be transformed into the networks of mutual support that you will need to rely on in doing the important work we do. If you spend these 2 days and only hang out with the people from your institution, that is not the purpose of this conference. We are trying to do intersegmental collaboration and cooperation, so get to know somebody, make some of those authentic connections that will serve you well later on. Thirdly, our mission across these 2 days is to recharge our spirits so that we can be those beacons of light for those students and clients whose days seem dark and dreary. We are the healers. And as healers, we must renew ourselves, affirm ourselves. We must even heal ourselves. Some of us, truth be told, are weary from our mission and have even had our fragile sensibilities impacted by the difficult work we do in addressing the mental health needs of our population. But in doing so, in healing ourselves, we will be better positioned to help those we treat to find hope in the face of despair, courage in the face of fear, calm in the midst of anxiety. We got to help them find confidence in the face of doubt, true worth in the absence of self-affirmation. And we've got to help our people find compassion. Our institutions have to be more compassionate in the face of insensitivity and the isms and the bigotries that exist in the world and the stigma around this mental health care. That is our charge. So if we can spend our 2 days doing those things, I think we'll have a great 2-day conference. Y'all with me on that? Yes? Everybody with me on that? All right. With that charge, let me now reintroduce my colleague, my friend, the Deputy to the Vice President for Student Services, Jerlena Griffin-Desta.
You know, when Michael was standing here with getting honored, I had a little moment to myself because, you know, and you know how we rag on each other. I'm gonna miss him. I'm really gonna miss you, Michael. And Michael is the kind of person, Dr. Young, that is somewhat understated, but you can tell by the photo collage of the love in all those photos. And so he was standing there while he was being photograph saying, "I'm so embarrassed." Well deserved, my friend. And also just noticed on the certificate that it's actually signed by Janet Napolitano and Judy Sakaki. So she wanted to extend her deepest appreciation to you and knows of your work. So before we move on to the moment of our keynote, I want to actually take a minute to introduce our partners from the California State University and the California Community Colleges system. I'm going to be asking Ana Aguayo-Bryant, who is the Civil Mental Health Program Manager at the CSU Chancellor's office down the road in Long Beach, and Becky Pirelli, who is the Director of Student Health Services at the City College of San Francisco and the California Community College representative to the Chancellor's Office Advisory Group. So if they can just make their way and just say a few words for us, that'd be great. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and to represent the CSU Office of the Chancellor and the 23 CSU campuses throughout the system. I wanted to thank everyone for being here, also for the 2 years that we embarked in this program. There's been a lot of partnerships, a lot of relationships that have been built, and I know that this is not the end. I know we're celebrating the best practices these last 2 years, but what we started, we will continue as a collaboration with the community colleges, with our UC partners, and again, with all 23 CSU campuses. So thank you.
Good morning. I am honored to represent the California Community Colleges. As you know, we have 112 community colleges, and there are 25 of them represented here today, actually, with about 35 attendees. And I just wanted to say that our main statewide promotion this year is to actually get people to understand that we have a wonderful online searchable database that we want to share with everyone that highlights practices, policies, and strategies that specific colleges have used. And I just want to encourage, as Dr. Parham said, one of the things that we look forward to as community college people is getting out there to the community, and we have pearls to share with you, and I know you have many pearls to share with us, which is very exciting. I want to also take this moment to thank the Herculean efforts that were done by the California Community Chancellor's Office in hand with the foundation of the California Community Colleges, with our training and technical assistance contractor, and the colleges themselves. It's been Herculean in that many of you know that our governance structure is very different, and with a variety of variables involved, it's been a learning curve in a short period of time. I also want to say that we are very excited to be able to share the students, as our students are collectively our students. So thank you very much. We look forward to the 2 days as well.